but last 20, 30 years, things have changed. Whether you are in a city or a village, you are as much connected with the world as anybody else. And so with the education catching up, it was a sweet surprise that last time whenever we were in Coimbatore, more than 35% speakers were girl speakers, Sashashai, Kobai, ITC, and many others. And some of them were prize winners. So this time we thought, can we showcase the strength of women? Yes, why not? Then the answer from the executive committee was, why not? The next challenge came, how to cobble it together. Not so easy having said it, because to get them on the board, we know many, but some are shy to come. And this was a challenge we were grappling, but God was kind on us. I'll tell you some nice small stories behind it. The challenge came, who could be the moderator? We tossed the idea, and finally, Priya ma'am, you are here from Heber. Can you stand up? Give a big round of applause to her. She said, yes, I'm ready. Then we asked her, we thought we will talk about the Vision 2035, 40 from. She said, no. I want to tell future is ready. We men, be ready to part your job to the ladies. It's not your reserved domain. So ladies are here to give you competition, and she would be talking against Future Ready. What's the innovation and leadership? What they think, and I'd say some of the participants are in their late 20s. So this panel discussion used to be reserved for late 50s. Time has changed. It is now for 20s and 30s mostly. So with these words, I'll first invite Priya ma'am to come. Okay, Priya. मैं क्या होता है इनको फोन में थोड़ा सा मजाक में प्रिया मैम बोलता हूँ यहाँ बोलता है. She was in USA for last 2 months, and you can imagine for her to coordinate in a time zone which was 11 hours behind India, to talk to the people, to get to all the panelists and bring them together. Priya, please. जी भी नहीं बोलूँगा. So she lives there in Chicago, and she is in Heber since 2017. It's a pleasure always talking to Priya as well as partner Vipin. Interact with them, and you will see something emerging future of Indian paper industry through their intellect. What I should say, pardon the. Now, I would like to introduce panelists to you. When we were making this panel, surprisingly, the girls came to know, and they started calling, hey, can I be the part of the panelists? It was a very sweet surprise, and one first such girl was Gunjan. Gunjan, where are you? Please come. Now, very, very interesting background of Gunjan. She arranges finance for the paper industry. She works with the bank and financial institution, and she arranges finance for the paper industry. A little brief about her. To me, the most important was that she called her herself, and we said, yes, why not? Everything, anybody will call up, my call will go back to Priya. Hey Priya, what shall I do? Priya will say, accept it. So, law. And that's how Gunjan is here. I'm not reading out her. Well, documented data, you can see she is available all over India to arrange finances. We have a very old hand with us in the industry. Somebody
Old but young.
old but young, old hand, old hand, but young, who has been an instrument in moving the chemical industry within the country, and that's Jyotsna. Jyotsna, please come over. Jyotsna carries huge experience behind her from the chemical industry. Just when I look back, I think chemical industry is one. Yesterday, Anirvan was telling salesmen from referring to some background. This is one industry, every salesman is highly technically qualified. Am I right, Jyotsna? Otherwise, you cannot survive.
Because you can't survive.
You cannot survive. So this is one industry which carries a very high power of intellect. We thought on bringing a very unknown face, possibly for the first time, somebody who is a CEO, somebody who carries, lot of weight, administrative weight. I have seen her in fabrics, and somebody who looks after molded product, not exactly the paper, but from a sustainability background. It is Kritika. Kritika, please come. Kritika. You meet her elsewhere, our one-to-one discussion. You will get a feel of her powerful personality with guys. Please, I'm not reading it. Have a look at it. More they will tell you when they speak about it. We wanted somebody from paper marketing and somebody who has come to paper from some other industry and who brings the perspective of possibly consumer products to paper industry selling. And she was a pick from our Japan trip, Mahua from Century Paper. Please come over. Mahua has done a lot of branding work for paper within the country. Here is another girl who called us up. Hi, Gold sir, I want to be a part of discussion. She is Monica. Monica, please come. Monica comes from mineral background. She possesses an extremely sweet personality, always smiling, and that what would be, again I say, reflected when she talks to all of you. Again, highly technically qualified girl over in the dais. We have another panelist who is born in paper industry, has a fairly good idea of production, but looks after the marketing of the products, is Ruchika. Ruchika from Ruchira Paper Mill. Come, Ruchika. Ruchika is always available at the back of the call of IFTA. And whenever I have called, hey Ruchika, I need this help and guidance, she's there. She's there. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being with us. You operate out of Bangalore, right? We have a school-going girl in looks, but a huge experience in machine building. I was surprised when I went to their workshop 2-3 years back, and she took me to her workshop, showed me. I was amazed. Look, fabrication is going on. This girl knows every operation of fabrication, and back in the office, she showed me all her computer orders, how she was following, and I really was really admired. Come over, Saloni. The another girl who comes from the chemical is Yashika. Yashika Saxena. Please come over. Yashika is also one of them who self-invited. Otherwise, we would have not been able to make this panel. Our reach was only to some select. But these girls, knowing there is going to be a panel discussion, they approached us and they said, I want to be a part of discussion. With these words, these are the introduction of the panelists. And in a nutshell, this is the panel that you have today. 8 girls flanked by our moderator, Priya. Over to you, Priya. Come.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Goel, for a very generous introduction of all the beautiful ladies here. Good morning to everyone. We had an incredible couple of days. We have seen some excellent papers filled with insights, showcasing the power of AI and in this industry. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am to see what is ahead of us. I must say this, okay? I am deeply honored to lead this discussion of innovation and leadership with some of the most inspiring, inspiring women in our industry. So, and also, right, I want to share something. This moment is very special to me. I was here at IPTA a couple of years back as a panelist. It was filled with all men and I was just one of them. And today, we are here, a panel full of strong, energetic women who are here to share their views about innovation and leadership. Like Goel already mentioned, this industry is not, kind of in the past was not very receptive, or there were very challenges in terms of how a woman can be part of this industry, right? BCG report finds that about less than 25% of key leadership positions are, just women, right? It's less than 25%. So we all know that diversity is very important. And here we have all of these women from different segments, different walks of life. So I'll just dive deep into the questions. First, I would like to begin with Yashika. So with your experience working across India and Southeast Asia, what are some of the biggest barriers women face in technical roles, especially in the paper industry? And what strategies can companies adopt to encourage more women to pursue and thrive in STEM, technical and research-driven roles?
Questions and for this wonderful introduction. And I'm equally honored to be part of this first of a kind all-women panel. So I think it's an excellent initiative by IPTA for giving us this opportunity and allowing us to speak our voices freely and confidently. And again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the male seniors, my male colleagues, my male counterparts in the paper industry, and thank you for that. But there has been always some difficulties, I believe, and we should not ignore them. And I think the couple of barriers that I feel is first being the lack of entry-level jobs for women as of now in the industry. So actually this is leading to a very low number of experienced women technical professionals in the industry right now. So we need to relook all our hiring process and couple that with skill development programs, providing trainings to women professionals and giving them the opportunity to experience the entire spectrum of the paper mill rather than carrying out just certain roles and responsibilities and ending up into a desk-based role. So here there is a scope of improvement, and then the growth potential of our women can expand it. Second barrier, I feel that there is, as of now, there is a lack of relevant infrastructure in the industry right now for women. And the moment you build an inclusive workplace, then female talent will be attracted spontaneously, I believe. So whether it is accommodation or commuting or a simple restroom, which should be there in all areas of a paper mill. So here we need, as an Indian industry, to raise the bar. There are several strategies, Priya, that can be adopted to attract more female in science and technology-driven role. And some of the effective approaches, I feel, is like I mentioned, individual development programs. So here we can further develop a clear roadmap, career roadmap for the women in the industry through mentorship programs and also giving some financial literacy that could also develop, can be developed and tailor-made for the women in the industry so that they can have a long-term career in the paper industry and they can attain some of the management roles here. Second thing that we can adopt here, Priya, could be role models and visibility programs. So like that we are having as an IPTA women panel. So what organizations can adopt is highlight some of the women who are into science and technology roles in their organization, highlight them and highlight their contributions so that you can organize some panel discussions like this, some talk shows or even some networking events where more fresher female talent will be aspired to join the paper industry. And last but not the least, I would like to highlight that we can adopt returnship programs. So with that I mean that as an Indian paper industry, we need to look on and develop some programs where we can accept the women who has taken their career gap or breaks due to some of the cultural biases that we have, and how we can accept them to transition them back to their roles in the science and technology or even engineering roles in our industry. So we can look on such a kind of returnship program, though it is not frequently discussed in our industry, but we can have such programs so that it makes easier for the women, because we are in a culture that there are some of the responsibilities that women play at personal level. So these kind of things would support women to attain more science and again STEM-driven roles in the industry. Yeah, that's all, Priya. I think that was able to answer your question.
Thanks. So I want to talk a little more about, what the industry holds for us in terms of technology, sustainability, finance and talent development, right? Looking forward, what is it? So first, let's talk about consumer trends that are reshaping our industry. Newsprint and traditional use case of paper have been on a decline for many years. But now, new trends, e-commerce, quick commerce, food delivery and hygiene have given us renewed optimism. So Mahua, as someone leading marketing and consumer products at Century Pulp and Paper, you have a pulse on the market. What are some of the most significant shifts in consumer behavior that are reshaping the paper industry today?
Thanks, Priya. different kind of a background. Various companies including fashion, consumer products, and various industries, but I'm very happy to be involved with the paper industry for the last 1 year. So I don't think I'll be saying anything new if I say to this esteemed audience who knows so much about paper, if I say what's the current consumer trends in paper, because I think they know it better than anybody else. So yes, we all know there is paperization happening. We know packaging is moving towards more paper. We know lightweight packaging is going to be a trend. We all know that it's going to be about flexible packaging. We know that tissue is going to grow. And so all of this is part of the paper industry trend. So I don't want
I think you might want to keep it closer.
So I don't want to dwell. Is this okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want to dwell on that at all, because I think all of you know all of that and more. I want to just step back and say that if you look at any industry, any brand, any business, it's driven by some core consumer motivations. There are 8 core consumer motivations that drive any business or any brand. So the first motivation, and I'll do a quick one, I will not do a lecture. The first one is achievement. So anything to do with achievement, aspiration is a core motivation. So industries and brands and businesses which feed into that always succeed. The second big motivation is belonging. So in terms of belonging, relationship, love, that's a big motivation. So brands that help you achieve that belonging do well. The third one is fear. You simply go and, you remember the Saffola campaign, you're going to have a heart attack if you do not have this oil. So fear is a very big one. The fourth one is about health. Health is, and especially after COVID, health is a very big driver for any kind of industry. You see the entire rise of hygiene products across and health supplements and all of that. The fifth one is self-enhancement. We're always looking about how can we improve ourselves. So this entire drive towards learning, knowledge, being young, staying young, beauty products, this whole self-enhancement. Then comes pleasure. These are the things not for any rational reasons, just for pleasure. So the whole growth of Netflix, etc., entertainment, it's all pleasure. And then comes, of course, nurturance. Nurturance is after you've done so much for yourself, you want to give back something. That's nurturance. So really, these are the large drivers of brand. And these have been eternal drivers. They're not going to go out, they're not going to, they're going to diminish. But what happens is, as people evolve, as people move, there are some changes that happens to this. So in the last 1 year, lots of studies have got published. It's what's the new change, what's the new consumer driver that's driving brands and businesses. And a Dentsu report published about a year back says there are some 5 big changes to these. In the aspiration area, the one big change is that people are not just looking at how good and how much I can earn. People are looking at something called a good enough living. A good enough living stems from the US, where the generation knows that they're not going to earn as much as the baby boomers, but they want to balance life between work and life. So therefore, they're opting for something called a good enough living. A lot of Gen Z in our country is also opting for a good enough living. So in the aspirational area, that's a change. It's a change towards a good enough living. In the belonging area, there is a huge togetherness deficit right now. So therefore, brands that are able to create a narrative, a storytelling, and therefore a community is going to be able to stick to people. Right? So that's a second change. The third change is there is a generation blur. The 50s, all of you people are young men, right? And all of you are looking so fantastically young because people are not aging. Agelessness is a very big defining factor. So agelessness and generation blurs where the 50s are looking like the 30s and the 60s are looking like the 40s are one of the big drivers that's happening and therefore driving a lot of industries and businesses. And aesthetics, in all of this issue, in all of the pressure, people are moving towards more aesthetic products and brands. And of course the last one, which is we live in an algorithmic era where a narrative gets multiplied billions of times because of AI. So having this scenario, how does it relate to the paper industry? So let's move beyond the typical trends that we see and see what are the opportunities if we look at it from this kind of a prism. That those are the drivers, these are the changes. So what does paper industry do to be able to cater to this? So let's talk about the first one. So we all know, while paper, writing and printing paper and book and the Maplitho and the book segment, maybe internationally there is a decline. In India it's playing a very large role because as the new education policy started, it's a very large role of primary education that paper provides, right? I think one big opportunity is to shape the storytelling and narrative there. Like digitizations become very, integrated to growth. How much is the paper industry being integrated to the growth of India? But it's playing a very large role. So there is a large opportunity to storytell, create a narrative. Because if we are not creating the narrative, somebody else will create the narrative. And every narrative becomes a 10x multiplier in the algorithmic age. Right? So that's one large opportunity area. The second large opportunity area is aesthetics for paper industry. So of course, you have the typical paper, but you also have a lot of specialized, beautiful paper. There's a lot of journaling happening, that people are going back to writing, over digitization is back. So there is a large opportunity for more aesthetic paper at a higher price, super segmented specialities, and all of that. In the packaging segment, freedom is one of the largest motivators of people, and as people step out and move out and travel a lot more, so food on the go. And therefore packs which are odor-free, packs which are spill-proof, packs which are temperature-controlled, packs which are reusable. Packaging is going to explode in all the movement food industry. Right? So that's a very, very large sector which is going to open up if you look at consumer and brand trends. The other aspect of packaging which is going to be very interesting is again aesthetics. Brands all over, and I come from a brand building background, brands all over are becoming minimalistic in printing. Therefore the substrate or the pack itself is going to be more and more important, and that's a very big area which we can value add. Tissue is, of course, we all know is a very important area of growth, but why is it that tissue is not growing as much in India as it is growing in Bangladesh? And even Bangladesh is a larger tissue using country. The reason being that we have never been able to educate why the tissue is better than cloth. So that's again a very large area of hygiene to educate. So that's really the gamut of consumer trends. Just stepping beyond the typical ones that we always talk about them.
Yeah, thanks, Mama. That's really insightful. Hygiene. Monica, you have worked at the intersection of chemicals and paper technologies. What are some of the biggest challenges that the industry faces today, both in India and globally? And how is innovation playing a role in overcoming these hurdles?
First of all, I would like to thank you, IPTA team and Goel sir, for giving us this opportunity. I think this is happening first time in India. We all are women panelists here in pulp and paper industry. So this is a big opportunity for us. Thank you again, IPTA team. And second, I would like to thank my colleagues from paper industry and chemical industry who have been continuously supporting me, and because of them only I am speaking here today. So coming back to the question Priya asked, so we know that currently in India and globally what are the challenges we are facing. So as we know that paper industry is undergoing through a very significant transformation. So there are challenges which we have been facing in India. I would like to talk about few challenges which currently we are facing. First is that sustainability and regulations. So as we know that there is continuous pressure from government that we have to reduce water consumption, emission and energy. But at the same time, there are strict regulations from the government. There are strict environmental laws we are facing. And as we know that since plastic is banned, so we have to continuously look for the alternative raw material, wherein recycled fiber, the recyclability is still again a challenge for us. So the second challenge we are facing in India is technology gap, where we see that there are lots of mill still using conventional processes for making paper, and whereas I talk about global market, they are already advanced and they have been using automation, but they are still striving for doing the innovation in biodegradable material. And if I talk about the third challenge, which is ongoing challenge, and we can see that challenge in upcoming year also, so that is rising costs and raw material shortage. So in India, the pulp price and energy cost is increasing day by day, and that is why we are facing, the production is becoming very, very expensive for us. So there is a strong need to develop some alternative raw material sources, where we have to continuously look for how we can do the more recycling of the paper. And if I talk about global market, there are continuous challenges in carbon neutrality, and they also have to continuously innovate in the field of high-tech solutions. So these are some of the challenges we have been facing in India and globally. So let me talk about some innovation which we are continuously doing in India and as well as in global market. So there has been innovation going on in field of green chemistry, where they are industries are developing sustainable paper by using the alternative fiber source, and there are other innovation happening around, like yesterday also some of the speaker talk about the AI and smart mills, where there is a strong need to develop and automate our system, which will give us real-time monitoring and make our production more faster, smarter and easier. And the third innovation is happening around alternative raw fiber, where there is a continuous demand for recycled fiber. We have to alternatively see that what other fiber like agriculture residues, how we can utilize it and recycle it more. These are some of the innovation happening around the India and globally also. I strongly believe that collaboration in supply chain between paper industries and chemical supplier and policy maker, technology provider, there should be collaboration between them to that will be the key to success in the long term in the long term in the market. And I strongly believe that sustainability and cost efficiency would be the driving factor for India in upcoming years. Who will innovate and who will embrace the innovation, they are going to lead the future in the paper industry. Thank you, Priya.
Thanks. So Ruchika is leader at Ruchira Paper. You have been at the forefront of these changes, driving flexible production practices to adapt to dynamic market trends. So with changing end user demands, how is paper manufacturing evolving to meet these, and how do we prepare for this proactively?
Thank you, Priya. I want to ask all of you one question. In a typical day, how many emails do we get which have a footer tagline which says "Save paper, save the earth"? Save paper, save a tree. Print, think. So yeah, so we have these emails with footer tags saying save paper, print, think before printing, save the environment. So in all of this, textile waste is recycled. The rest of it all goes into the waste dump. And that takes about 200 years to decompose. I'm saying, talk about any product. Talk about our shiny phones and laptops that we so happily upgrade every couple of years. The kind of hazardous elements the e-waste generates, you know, so when we compare that to paper, so paper is being made the villain where we have a hero product in our hand. And that is the narrative that needs to be changing for the young consumers. So that's the market trend I feel that we need to promote on, or we need to send out the message about. Yeah, that was what I was thinking about, the trends that are going forward that we need to tell. And how do we do this? I mean, I know it does a great job of sending out this message, but what we are doing is that we are, or even our own companies, but collectively, we are not promoting paper as a brand. So what we're doing is that our audience is the other paper mills. If I'm giving out a story saying that paper does this, our audience is all people in the paper industry. But what we need to be collectively doing is reaching out to influencers, maybe social media, maybe having a social awareness campaign in universities and schools, because the young consumer is the one who's making that change. You know, we need to tell them that if you consume your material on paper, you're actually consuming 20% less carbon than compared to on your tablet. So that's the message that needs to be sent out to the consumers. And talking about other market trends, so there are we hear about trends about paper straws, paper matchsticks, paper earbuds, even paper wine bottles, and now I've got whiskey bottles. So those are innovative products that are happening. When we talk about trends, are we talking about market disruptors? So these are not going to be market disruptors for sure. So I think our future lies in our present. So the products that we're using right now, or our current market is going to be the future. The growth in this market is what we have to look forward to. Thanks.
Very, very good point. Yeah, so it's all boiling down to how are we going to be ready with technology, with adapting to these market trends, and what is it that we can create, right? Cool. So my next question is to Saloni. Saloni, as a leader in the high-speed paper machinery manufacturing, understands how technological advancements are shaping paper production. So how do you see automation and AI shaping the future of paper manufacturing?
Thank you for the question. Yes, definitely technology is transforming the paper making, and Industry 4.0 and automation has contributed and has played a vital role in shaping it. We have been using sensors through many years to collect and measure the different parameters incorporated with various automation loops that we have to have a reliable process. And this helps us to give an informed decision. In turn, this is creating a better and efficient production process line. So I think Industry 4.0 and automation has already been a part of our industry to a greater extent. Now we have to take another step ahead with AI, which is a way ahead than these two things. Because AI not only collects data but also combines it with the previous data or the previous decision actions that have been taken in past. and helps us take a smarter decision through the solutions that it is providing. So I think AI can be very helpful in the coming years, and to mention a few of them, there are several areas where we can implement AI, but to just mention a few of them could be the predictive maintenance for the machines and the consumer trends, the market trends. As I said, AI is capable of analyzing and forecasting different trends ahead. So, because it works on the historical data and the patterns, the machine patterns that on the behavior of the machine. So, I think it can forecast well the possibilities of what is coming ahead and help us make our machines more, make them healthy enough so that we can have the predictive, or we know what is going to happen to our machines well in advance and take the steps what we are supposed to. Also, it can forecast the demands of the product or the challenges that are going to come ahead in the market. Next area could be the research and development, where AI can be very helpful because the basic principle of R&D and AI is similar. That is thousands and lakhs of sampling, and on the basis of the same we come to a conclusion with the similarities and the differences and the results. So AI can help us have these results far better, reliable and faster so that we can develop the new products and the technology way quicker than earlier. The last point that I would like to add is it can also contribute to the human resource security. I feel this is way ahead in the future, but it could be implemented similar to how we are training the self-driving cars to identify the obstacles and avoid any kind of accidents that can happen. A similar environment can be created in our factories where the places are hazardous or dangerous for the human intervention, and we can possibly avoid any mishappenings that can happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Saloni.
Yeah, I think I just heard that the paper industry doesn't seem to be having a very great positive image when it comes to actually its impact on the environment. Now, it's a very challenging statement to make amongst so many paper makers and paper industry, but as we all know and we keep hearing, and which is also true to a large extent, that paper industry is a highly resource intensive industry. So you need a lot of raw material, which is there, then you require a lot of energy, then you require a lot of water, it creates a lot of effluent, and from the image perspective it also cuts trees and has a negative impact which everybody seems to be having. And for the last almost 20 years I think we've been debating in various seminars that how do you really create this image that paper industry is not the villain in a way. I think the industry has to do something more aggressive about creating that image. But having said that the paper industry has this effect. In the last 2-3 decades, we have seen how the industry has really worked to improve its sustainability practices, to improve its process conditions of paper making. And now we know that there are a lot of changes in the way the effluent is treated, the way the process chemistry has changed. There's been a contribution from everyone, including the paper makers who've been really innovating every single day and minute on how do you really improve your process. There has been even innovation from the paper machine guys on how do you really make it more resource efficient. But having said that, chemistry and chemical suppliers also play a very important role and in helping paper industry meet this requirement. So sustainability and chemistry go hand in hand. I think every time there is a need to improvise the system, chemistry has been working along to help all industries, but specifically now as we talked of paper industry, to help it to improve its process as well as improve the outcome of the product. So if I look at it and what kind of innovations have happened and how I can probably classify them in 3 buckets. The first one is the innovations which help to make the product more safe. Now safety is really at the core of everything, right? So like paper industry didn't have a very great image, so does chemical industry doesn't have a good image. Nobody wants to be anywhere close near to a chemical supplier also, but chemical industry also. Okay, so they always feel that chemicals means it's negative. I mean to say chemicals are part of every single part of the life which we are living, and they enable us to do everything, but nevertheless, it has a negative image over there, right? So the first thing which was important is innovating to improve the safety of your products. So a lot of innovation is done, and I'll just name a few. For example, 20 years back, there were a lot of dyes which were used with amines and azo dyes which have been banned over the last couple of years. I know some of my customers whom we have talked extensively on, which are the banned amines, which should not be used, how you should move away from those to more safe products. I think Mr. Krishnan is smiling away because I think we've had many discussions on these. But okay, apart from that, you look at the dyes, or you look at more effective, chemistry, which is much more substantive, or let's say water-based chemistry coming into the way. Then you're looking at how you can really, let's say formaldehyde and all has gone off the system. And the recent talk of the town is how do you get out of this fluorochemicals and bring a PFAS-free chemistry, right? So chemistry innovation to bring safe products is one of the biggest things. Second area where chemistry has enabled in paper making process is increasing the efficiency. Because when you're talking of chemistry, it has to improve the efficiency. What do you say in improving efficiency? It basically means that it helps you reduce your resource, helps you increase your productivity, decrease your wastage. All the chemicals and all the discussions over the last 20, 30 years I've been having with a lot of people over here in the industry is, okay, how do you use better chemistry which can enable you to have, let's say, higher exhaust products so that they don't go down the drain, better retention systems. These are all innovations. They don't happen overnight by itself, right? As the paper making processes have been changing, the speed has changed, the pH conditions have changed, other process conditions change, the chemical manufacturers have continuously been innovating to meet these requirements. Some of them are like the retention aids, which I said, like, you have more better retentions, because of which you have better filler retention, you have lesser fiber, so most cost efficient. Then if you're talking of better, cleaner backwater systems, so lesser breaks, okay. Then you can have, let's say now we also look at trends which are coming for urea-free optical brightness, etc., which don't load onto your water systems and effluent. So there are a lot of chemistry innovations which have come in the way to help the paper making process to meet the latest trends. And then if you look at how do you enhance, so chemistry, of course, apart from the must do, it also has the ability to increase the enhancement of the features. And we are looking at all this paperization, which is another word like sustainability, another fashion word, which is coming along. And it means that the paper has to have some kind of functional properties, which are much better and enable it to be able to use for all the different applications people are looking at. So enhancement in terms of optical properties, functional properties, strength, printability, capacity, and of course to make it more beautiful, colorful. So there are various things which the chemical people are doing. Only thing I will say is that chemistry and chemical supplies innovation should not be a standalone work. It has to be in harmonization with what the industry is looking for and where the trends are going to, so that you can actually work together and not just have something which works in the lab but doesn't work on the machine, and which we've seen also many times. So as this collaboration increases, as the harmonization increases, you will see this kind of, improvement, and the innovations will continue. So love-like relationship, but love-hate relationship nevertheless, but the chemical suppliers, chemistry is very, very critical to paper making. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rachna. I mean, chemicals are quite instrumental in its, you can't probably live without chemistries. So, yeah. So with all these advancements, mills also need to think strategically about investments, whether it's optimizing existing mills or launching new ventures. Raising capital is a major factor in making these innovations a reality. So with that, my next question is to Gunjan. So how should existing mills think about investments and raising capital? Also, what about new ventures? What kind of assistance is available for them?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I really would like to thank SIPTA family, entirely especially to Goel sir, to make me the part of the IPTA from being as a banker and introduce an effective manner to be delivered to the paper industry with a different kind of a models, because as being into the industry and understanding the paper trend from couple of years, we understand that the capex involvement to sustainability or to the different kind of a models, how does actually bank specialization can affect the paper industry in the terms. So the lower margin can have the more profitability ratio to be delivered to the front. The possibility, as everybody, those who are being sitting here, is the promoter and directly being taking care of their industry for a outlook of the benefits and the margins to be get more out of the industry after generating the particular period of a production way out. So the earlier times when the capex was less, but the banking structure, the banks have the more margin to be infused by the promoters. In that manner, a promoter cannot go for a very huge capex involvement. Like earlier, if I talk about the banking structure of 15-20 years back, the capex involved to per ton, if I talk about it, is somewhere around 40 to 50 lakh rupees per ton capex value. And now, as I'm talking about, it is somewhere around 1 to 1.5 crore rupees per ton capability for installing a plant of 300 capacity. And for that, even the banks are implementing their margins, so that making the profitability ratio to be lesser on the front. And this is how does the bank is also coming into the picture and giving you sustainability related products also, where your margin can be at a lower cost, so that lower cost increment the profit marginality of the company. So this is how does the capex involvement every year. In fact, creating up a new environmental friendly products, or the boiler and turbines recently been introduced with the multi-fuel efficiency or recycle of the paper. Earlier, if I talk about the paper will be made up of a wood pulp and something like that. Not much about from the same industry, so cannot comment on it. But now as the recycle plants are also there in the market, the agro-based products are also there. And it depends according to the different trade. The craft paper have their own nature, the tissue have their own nature, the chemicals has been used, the technology to be used, and similarly the financial structure has to be used. If we are moving towards the energy of green energy and efficient energy, sustainability, even the banks are working with the same platform for it. And we make that kind of a strength as a tailor-made facility to improve your margins, where you can have a good margin on the front and the banks is continuously on the support system while investing in the term. But that is all I would like to say about the banking structure. But yes, we are in the support of, for any aspect for paper industry. Earlier, because the banks are not coming with lot of things, the paper industry margins were being not much comfortable with the bank structure. It is a high risk industry because the capex involvement is much. So the banks are not very comfortable while delivering the finance outlooks. And similarly for the industry also, we are the one of the backbone, because we want you to grow. So that is only the reason we generate your profitabilities, so the bank is generating our income. So this is, I really would like to go with the tailor-made solution, the sustainability, the green financing loans are also offered now. So that can make the capex involvement. You can also go with the huge capacity increment immediately. Otherwise, existing collateral doesn't permit a person whenever go towards the bank and asking for a capex, a bank is looking forward for any of another collateral to be get introduced. Please provide us what are the rents, what else you have in your family, let's provide it us, and then we'll offer you the financing outlook. So now the method has been changed. Whatever the industry is growing, we have the primary, we have where the business is going. The other terms of collaterals, the other terms of the engagement would not to be involved into the structure. Only where the business is developing, we are only the authorized to be the part of it. That is all. Thanks a lot.
Nice, Gunjan. Your figure